California Mission Trail. 21 missions and 20 stages, about 800 miles. The first step was getting from Santa Barbara up to Sonoma. I picked up Jeff, my old environmentalist hippie friend, who's going to be the sag wagon driver. He likes to talk with his hands. First stop was Morro Bay, where we picked up Kurt, the rock and rollin' surfer dude. He's the drummer. We went up to Santa Rosa and stayed with my old friend Andy from Newcastle, England. I met him back in 1990 when we looked like this. We've kept in touch over the decades, and we're good friends with him and his wife Carole. He's still got all his hair though, it's not fair. After a couple nights with them, we headed towards Sonoma to get the bike ride going. Sonoma is wine country, so we drove through a lot of vineyards. This road was pretty narrow, you know, there's a lot of traffic on here as we're pulling into Sonoma and making some turns. Some hippies up here with their crazy cars with the Grim Reaper right in the passenger door. But it was a lot nicer once we got onto some paths and didn't run over people. This is suburbia Sonoma, and we're almost to the downtown area here. Kurt's been trailing me here. We're getting used to riding together. He was drafting me quite a bit the first day, especially on the main road. But here's the main square. The mission in Sonoma is right off the square, and it's actually called Mission San Francisco Solano. They don't have Mass in the current chapel, but it's been restored really nice. What I really love about the Missions Trail is the history that it has. You know, and the history of California starts with the Spanish Empire. In 1683, they started developing missions in Baja California. They didn't get to Alta California, or Upper California, which is now the U.S., in San Diego in 1769. The last mission they developed was San Francisco de Solana, the 21st mission in 1823, and that's where we start the journey. Stopped for lunch in Novato, and this is downtown Novato. We got to San Rafael about 4:30, and it's a real beautiful mission. We went to get our passports stamped, but the mission store was closed. We had to look around and figured out that the office was still open, and they stamped our passports. We always say a little prayer in each of the churches. I usually prayed for a safe journey. Day 2 was exciting because we're going to get to go over the Golden Gate Bridge and into San Francisco. Saturday in the park, lots of people riding around, and what was nice is as we approached San Francisco, there are a lot of bike trails in Marin County. The climb up to Golden Gate is really nice, and but a lot of cars, a lot of traffic up here. Once we were on the bridge, it was real nice, but it kept getting narrow at different places, outhouses and construction going on. They've been building this safety net for suicide jumpers up here. But quite an ordeal to get up here, just a lot of people. We met Jeff at Fort Point, and Kurt was tired and took a ride after that. So I was riding on my own all through San Francisco here. A lot of people out on a beautiful day in the Bay Area. Here I'm going up through some eucalyptus in the Presidio, another relic from the Spanish Empire. Then we're into the city. We went through Haight-Ashbury and then rode all the way across town till we got to the mission of San Francisco, Mission Dolores. I was really worried about going to the San Francisco mission. You hear so many horror stories about the crime there, and I was worried about the traffic in the city, but there's so many bike lanes here that I felt really safe riding all around the city. Here's all the way after going to the airport. And a lot of infrastructure, but you see dedicated bike lanes, so it's pretty good. That night we went down to Redwood City and stayed with my friend Bart here, an old college friend. Him and Kurt are way into Honda motorcycles. They both have this kind of model. The next morning, day 3, Redwood City to Santa Clara. We had to go across the Barton Bridge and get down into the East Bay. The San Jose Mission is actually located in Fremont. Mission San Jose is still very active, and the Olive Festival is going on there, and that's why we got to see this lady in the olive suit. It was a lot of fun. Then we had to hit down the road and to Santa Clara. Santa Clara is at the heart of the Silicon Valley, and the university there is still going, run by Jesuits. The chapel there is very beautiful, and here's a little summary of the ride on that day, and then we stayed at Bart's that night. Day 4, Santa Clara to Santa Cruz. We're going to finally get out of the Bay Area, and we had to go up a big hill to get up there. There's newts and bikes and deer up in the hills here, and it was had a few little downhills while we're going, a few little landslides in the road, and then some fun Santa Claus-like characters up in the hills here. After going over the 1,900-foot pass, it was time to head down the hill, and that's got to be the best part about riding a bike, is a nice downhill. Enjoy this for a few seconds. We got to Mission Santa Cruz and then went up into the mountains in Ben Lomond. Jeff had a friend, John Burton, who we stayed with in his geodesic dome house. It was pretty cool. Jeff and John started a company doing solar water heaters way back in the 80s or 70s. Here they are looking at an old catalog. John also collected rock posters, and he gave Jeff this Jefferson Airplane poster. Cooked dinner and had a great time. He had this cool MG out in his garage as well. Little did we know this would be the last time we'd see him. He passed away from a stroke in the night just a couple weeks after our visit. I'm glad I got to meet him. That's the completion of the Bay Area section of the California Mission Trail. In 4 days, we did 5 stages, seeing 6 missions, and went 172 miles. It's a pretty quick pace for us, but it was great to see my old friends Andy and Carole, and then Barton, and then got to meet John before he passed. So I'll dedicate this section to him. Enjoy the ride here, just a little music and a bigger ride down into Santa Cruz.